New York Attorney General Letitia James is now responding to former President Trump's $175 million bond payment. CB Cotton has more from our New York City newsroom on that for us. So CB, what is the Attorney General asking regarding the former president's bond underwriter?
Well, Sandra, former President Donald Trump staved off the risk of seized assets and drained bank accounts while he appeals the civil fraud judgment against him. He posted the $175 million bond on Monday, again, in order to appeal that civil fraud judgment. But we are told a key component was missing because the company who issued the bond is not licensed to do so in New York. Now, New York Attorney General Letitia James, citing New York law, has filed a notice with the court requesting the insurance company, Knight's Specialty Insurance, provide proof that the bond is financially sound. The company's chairman, Don Hankey, reportedly a billionaire, told Fox Business earlier this week he supported the former president and even donated to his campaign. But he said the decision to underwrite the bond for Trump was ultimately about growing his company.
We wanted an opportunity to expand our business, and we feel that the cause just justifies it. We saw he was having trouble getting the bond, so we reached out and said we were happy to participate, and they quickly came back, and we put a deal together in a few days. It's a big bond for us to underwrite, but Donald Trump came up with all cash, so at the end, it was an easy decision and with almost no risk.
Okay, so Sandra, according to the court filing, Trump's team has 10 days to respond. An appeals court, as we all know, did reduce the bond he'd have to post in the civil fraud judgment from the $454 million. Trump's attorneys have argued that amount, posting that amount, was a, quote, practical impossibility. Sandra, we've also reached out to the insurance company for their response to this development.
Here we go again. It's never going to end. You have to ask yourself, why is Letitia James such an angry bitch? What's her problem? Well, I think I know exactly what's causing her to be a bitch in heels. Just to bring you up to speed if you haven't been playing along at home, the moronic judge in the New York case with Letitia James valued Mar-a-Lago at just $18 million, which is extremely laughable. Then he slapped Donald Trump with a $454 million fine with interest that in order for him to appeal such fine, he had to place it all in a court registry, which essentially denied Donald Trump of his constitutionally protected right to due process. In other words, that's called an Eighth Amendment violation. So Trump filed an emergency appeal and got the bond reduced from $454 million to a measly $175 million. That really pissed off Letitia James. Then on Monday, this past Monday, Trump posted a bond for $175 million. But now, Letitia James is questioning the validity of the bond that he posted. She wants more information from the bond company to determine if the bond is valid. You have to understand, her filing this question, this incident report saying she wants to question the bond, serves two purposes. First, it gives the media permission basically to go start dig into this company, find out everything you can about them, and put it out there to the world. And you watch, the media will gleefully play along and do everything they possibly can to basically cast aspersions against this bond company. In fact, they may even try to destroy this company. Actually, it's already begun. This dude that you're about to hear from is from the Midas Touch. It's a LibNut website that all they do is loathe about Donald Trump. Take a listen to his characterization of the bond deal.
Knight Specialty Insurance Company doesn't have the adequate assets to be a surety, it appears, in the state of New York. It's like
he's just laughing. Obviously, he hasn't done his homework. He doesn't understand how surety bonds work. They don't have to be licensed in the state of New York. They just have to put up the bond. And yes, they do have the assets. He could have just went to their website and seen what the assets are. Or he can listen to the owner of the company who explains how they collateralized the bond.
It's a big bond for us to underwrite, but Donald Trump came up with all cash. So at the end, it was an easy decision and with almost no risk.
Laughable and odd that I even have to say that. So let me just break it.
But you don't have to say it. It's laughable that you're doing it, that you're saying this because you want to taint people.
Down for the viewer. So Donald Trump was unable to post his own cash in order to post a bond to stay the enforcement of the judgment in the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case. So Trump goes around, I'm so rich, I've got all of this cash.
Right.
Well, then he tries to get he gets kind of let off the hook a little bit by the appellate court, which allows him to reduce the bond from 464 to 175, which...
So he's lying right there. When he said that Trump didn't have the money, you use a bond so you don't have to use your own money. So if Trump has $175 million, which the owner of the company has already confirmed, then it makes it an easy deal for the bond company. You won't have to use your own money. That's the objective with everything Trump's been trying to do. If you have to take $175 million and put it into the court, that's $175 million you can't use. By using a bond, you still have access to your own $175 million. This guy is a bumbling idiot.
Again, if you're so rich, you should have $175 million. Then he goes...
If you're so rich, you should have $175 million. You understand how these people have no friggin' idea how business works. They have no friggin' idea how the entire system operates.
Goes to his friend, this guy Don Hankey, who runs Knight Specialty Insurance.
His friend, like that's some sort of bad thing. You remember the movie City Slickers? And in the movie City Slickers, Curly finds gold and they're saying, is there more? And Curly goes, it's got friends. When you're a billionaire yourself, you know other billionaires who have money. For some reason, these people think that's a negative. Trump can raise the money. They're going to find that out this weekend, which I'll be doing another video on probably later today or tomorrow. But this guy, with all of his just nastiness, just looks like he just crawled out of a hole somewhere, is saying, oh, if you got any money, you shouldn't have a problem putting up the money. You don't understand business. You don't understand collateralization. You, sir, are a moron.
But Knight Specialty Insurance doesn't have the adequate surplus funds in the state of New York in order to serve as a surety. They don't have the adequate assets, Don. This isn't about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. This is just about another Trump grift, another Trump lie, another Trump night. It's like, what is going on here?
You see what I mean? It's just another Trump grift, just another Trump lie, just completely discounted. Hey, I don't know any idea what I'm talking about. I'm just some left-wing website. I'm a libnut, and I'm just trying to tell you it's a grift. Trump doesn't have any money. His friends don't have any money. Oh my God, these people are friggin' insane. Just about everything he said in that piece is a lie. But now, the media will run with nothing but lies about, Knight Insurance and Donald Trump. That wasn't reporting that you just heard. That was a Donald Trump voodoo ritual. All they do is sit around with Donald Trump voodoo dolls and sticking pins in it, hoping this time they've got him. Now, the second purpose of what Letitia James filed is to send a clear message. And that message is to anyone who wants to help Donald Trump. We are going to intimidate you. We are going to harass you. We are going to do everything to destroy your reputation and your business. And who knows? She may even try to ban this company from doing business in New York, which I dare her to do. No, I double dog dare her to do. She will prove Kevin O'Leary and many others 100% right. She will single-handedly usher in a mass exodus of business out of New York. But let me stop for a second and ask you a question. Do you think Donald Trump is stupid? He's the most scrutinized man on the planet. Nobody has stood up to the amount of investigation and basically magnification that Donald Trump has been under for about 5 years now. No, about 8 years now. Don't you think he already expected and planned for this to happen? Don't you think that Knight Specialty Insurance and their CEO and owner knew exactly what he was getting into and what could happen? Of course they did. Remember what I played earlier and what the president of the company said during his interview on Fox News.
An opportunity to expand our business, and we feel that the cause just justifies it. We saw he was having trouble getting the bond, so we reached out and said we're happy to participate, and they quickly came back, and we put a deal together in a few days. It's a big bond for us to underwrite, but Donald Trump came up with all cash, so at the end, it was an easy decision and with almost no risk.
Unlike that idiot from the Midas Touch, the owner of the company said he reached out to Donald Trump. Donald Trump did not reach out to him. That was a complete lie. He also just said, as you heard, that it was basically a no-risk deal because Donald Trump himself collateralized the bond. Donald Trump had $175 million in cash. It's a no-brainer, and I guarantee you that's one of the reasons they're pissed. The bond, while not needed, allows Donald Trump to keep $175 million liquid to use on his presidential campaign. Letitia James was hoping to break Donald Trump. She was hoping to cripple the entire presidential campaign. Listen here to MSNBC as they breathlessly try to break the news that Letitia James may have indeed broke Donald Trump.
Breaking news in Donald Trump's civil fraud case. The New York Attorney General has filed notice questioning essentially the financial strength of the company that posted his bond and whether it can cover the cost. I want to bring back MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin, who is frantically...
Now remember, you already heard the owner of the company say that Donald Trump collateralized the bond himself with $175 million in cash. They just completely ignored that.
Looking at her phone because this is literally just breaking. So this is the $175,000, right?
$175 million.
Yep. If only it was $175,000, Donald Trump is saying. $175 million. So there's a question about whether they're really covering it in a sufficient way. Is that it?
Let's go back for a second. So this morning, Knight Specialty Insurance Company filed a corrected version of the bond that it's...
Okay, now a lot of people will omit that. Knight Specialty Insurance went in and filed a corrected version of the bond. So they did give more information when she requested it, but not many people are even talking about that. That other guy from Midas Touch never mentioned it.
Attached, among other things, its financial statements and showed what its assets were as of the end of last year. That's December 31st, 2023. It has over $537 million in assets. And what the Attorney General's office is...
Interesting. The other guy said they didn't have any money. They were broke. You know, these rich guys, they talk shit, but they don't have any money. He lied.
Saying the cash it has on hand is less than the bond, and they need to know because specifically this company is not admitted under New York's Department of Financial Service. It's not a New York insurer, and because it doesn't have qualifications in New York State, they're...
No. Okay, gotta stop you there. She went from registration to qualifications. Big difference. You do not have to be registered to issue a bond in New York City. That is not the case. So what is going to happen is because you're not registered, they are allowed to ask for more information because obviously since you're not registered, you don't have all that information on file. It does not have anything to do with the qualifications of the company whatsoever.
They're entitled to ask for what's called justification of the surety. That means
that's what you can ask for. Because you're not a registered company in New York, they can ask for those, information as to what you have, where'd you get the money, who are you guys? Yes, go ahead, I will get you all that. But it does not mean they are not qualified.
Among other things, Chris, that they want to know, how is this collateralized? What are the specific identifiable assets that Donald Trump...
Bingo. That's what Letitia James wants. She wants to know, hey, listen, how was this thing collateralized? I need to know specifically where this $175 million is. I need to know what bank it's in. I need to know where it's being held. I want to know who the custodian of the account is. She wants all this information. That's what she wants. She already knows that Knight Specialty is a huge company. I mean, monstrous company with $23 billion under management. She knows that because I know that. I know how to check and see what a company's worth. That company has $23 billion under management, well above $175 million. They just don't keep it all in cash. So what she wants to know is, hey, listen, we understand. I heard that Donald Trump collateralized this loan himself. Where did he get the money? And where is it being held right now? That's what I need to know. Because, I need to know all these things. I'm Letitia friggin' James. Unbelievable.
They will get back this $175 million and up to the value of the judgment that Judge Engoron had ordered, which at this point stands over $454 million if that judgment's upheld.
Wasn't that similar to the problem Donald Trump himself faced? Because he clearly has a lot of assets. The question is, are they liquid assets?
Well, obviously, if he put $175 million in cash to collateralize the bond, you're answering your own question. You're just hoping that your stupid audience doesn't understand all of this high finance stuff, which I'm breaking down for you.
How quickly, for example, if he needed to, could he sell something, and would it be worth what would be needed to cover the bond?
He had other problems too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those assets were encumbered and he couldn't pledge them because there was already somebody essentially in line.
It's called a mortgage, meaning if I buy a piece of real estate and I get a loan to buy that piece of real estate, that's why they call that a first mortgage, a first position mortgage. I don't find that to be a problem. I have a building, it may have equity in it, it may have great cash flow, but it's encumbered with a mortgage that allowed me to buy it. When you bought your house, let's say you bought your house 5 years ago, you bought your house for $500,000. You got a $400,000 loan, you put down $100,000, you had $100,000 in equity. Now that house is worth $800,000. You may not have the $300,000 in equity in cash, but you have that, but there's still a loan of $500,000 on the property. Now, I'm not trying to get you too deep in the weeds here, but that's how it works. They're trying to make it seem like that's just not something that's normally done.
A $125 million mortgage, for example, to an existing lender, then you can't exactly give that over to the Attorney General first when you've got somebody in line with what's called a perfected security interest. So that is a similar problem. Trump had even greater.
Why is that a problem? What that to me sounds like good business. Actually, it doesn't sound. That is good business. You want to make sure that your properties are encumbered. Everybody who tells you to go ahead and pay off your property, they're idiots. You want the property encumbered. Why? Because if you had a home free and clear and it was worth, as I said, $500,000 and somebody sues you, unless you're in the state of Florida, which has homesteading laws, by the way, they could take that $500,000 to pay off your judgment. In the state of Florida, which she may find out, I didn't check to see if Mar-a-Lago was homesteaded, but you just can't run around taking people's properties. That's another thing that people don't understand. She may try to attach properties in New York City. She may try to go out and put a lien on properties in New York City, but you just don't all of a sudden become the owner by virtue of a judgment. You still have to collect on that judgment. So all the people who have been running around saying she's going to seize his properties, it doesn't work that way in real estate. You have to go ahead and place a lien, which basically encumbers the property if a guy tries to sell it. You can try to force a sale in terms of try to foreclose on your lien, but if you try to foreclose on the lien you have to pay off the other mortgages. You're not just going to wipe them off. These people just don't lose their money. They don't tell you this kind of stuff. I don't know why, but they don't even bother telling you that kind of stuff.
There are problems on his own, which is why he went to Knight Specialty Insurance Company as his suretor here. But here you see the Attorney General's office saying what you filed this morning is still not enough to satisfy us that
Still not enough to satisfy Letitia James and her puppet masters. Of course, it's enough to satisfy the bond. The court accepted it. So it was placed on, into the court registry. Hey, listen, here's this piece of paper. We got $175 million. It completely satisfied it. Now she wants to find out what's behind that satisfaction.
You have posted a bond that is sufficient to cover our judgment if and when we win on appeal.
So now what happens?
They have 10 days
Nothing.
to file what's called a justification of the surety, and then there will be, in addition to the motion practice, a hearing at which the suretor can come forward. And they have copied, for example, on this motion, Amit Shah, who's the president of Knight Specialty Insurance Company, signed the bond. He is copied here because he is basically the person on whom this is being served. You will show up, you will file these documents to explain to
No, your attorney will show up, your accountants will file the documents. What is she talking about?
us how this is collateralized. This is bringing Don Hankey.
Bingo. Did you hear that? They want to know how it's collateralized. Bingo. They want to know where Donald Trump came up with the money and where it's being held. You got to look behind the veil here. Most of these people on TV have no idea what they're talking about. They're just spouting words or reading what's in front of them. They can't intelligently speak on this stuff.
And his company a whole lot more into this mess than I fear that they anticipated.
Okay, so then the
Okay, now listen to what she says here, and she's going to say the quiet part out loud.
question becomes, what if, we don't know what's going to happen,
Right.
but what if the decision is, no, this isn't good?
So if it's not, if
reading.
it's not good, then Trump will have to obtain a new undertaking to prevent Tish James from enforcing on the judgment while he appeals. Right now he has a stay, but that stay is conditional on his having posted this $175 million bond.
Wait a second. Remember I said earlier about this being an Eighth Amendment challenge as a violation of due process? Oh, he's got another step to appeal if they do something crazy here. He can take this to the Supreme Court. Nobody's mentioning that.
If this bond isn't sufficient according to a court, then Trump will have to obtain another one in lieu of it.
Remind us what enforcing might mean.
Enforcing could mean seizing assets.
Nope, ain't gonna happen. Before you can do that, before you can actually go and take a property, that's a whole other set of hearings as well. You just don't get a judgment and go, I'm just going to take this property. That's not true. Once you have your judgment, then you have to do all the other stuff in order to enforce the judgment. I've been in real estate for 25 plus years. I've bought so many properties with judgments on them. You just don't all this. There's a reason why they sit in the court registry. That's why when you do the title search, all that information is there. It's like, hey man, you got a judgment from Sears. You got a judgment back like 8 years ago where you didn't pay your car loan. They want this paid off before you can sell the property. And then we have to contact the lien holder and say, listen, will you take a settlement for this lien that you have on the property? Sears and JCPenney and whoever else you owe, they don't just walk in and take the property. In fact, the IRS the same way. If you have an IRS lien, the lien sits on the property until the property is sold. Could the IRS go after the house and actually try to sell it? Sure. But they've done their due diligence and they figure out as well, man, this is going to be really costly. The homeowner, property owner is going to fight it. The mortgage holders are going to fight it. And then all of a sudden you're looking at this and going, there's not a whole lot left. So we're just going to let this sit until the property sells. These guys are breathlessly thinking they're just going to walk in and change the locks on Trump Tower or attach his bank account, which that ain't going to happen.
It could mean, for example, seizing bank accounts. It could also mean taking steps to obtain the ownership of assets that are
Okay. Taking steps. That's all they can do. At that point, you can take the steps to enforce it, which could take years.
free and clear from other mortgages. And
See how they just slid that in at the end, what I just told you? You have to try and get the other mortgage holders to either subordinate or you pay them off.
in a perfect world, Tish James doesn't want to get into a war with other lenders to whom Donald Trump already owes money. She'd rather take possession of assets or properties that are free and clear of other demands.
Good luck. That's the first person who's actually said the truth there. You don't just get to take properties that are already have mortgages on them. You just don't. It just doesn't happen. So you're going to have to try and find stuff that's free and clear. And good luck with that.
But she never wanted to get into that business in the first place, which is why the surety is a good option for the Attorney General's office as well. They are a
Notice what she said. They never wanted to get in that position anyway. So if you didn't want to get into that position of having to seize properties and bank accounts and deal with, subordinate lenders and all this other thing, why exactly did you go through this entire charade? Why are you exactly going to the position of we need to find out where this collateralization is? We need to see how much money's there, where the money's come from. Why did you go through all this? They're about to tell you right here.
law enforcement office. They are not a real estate agency. They are not interested in conducting a fire sale any more than Donald Trump wants to host one himself.
Well, this is a perfect example. Early in this whole process, when we knew there were 4 criminal cases, one of the things that folks like me was constantly asking folks like you is what impact it might have on the political calendar. And one of the things folks like you said was these cases can get complicated. There can be delays. There can be things like this that happen. And now it's another thing that's taking time and attention for Donald Trump and his legal team away from other things that he has to do, like run for president.
And there's your answer. All of this is to try and get his eye off the ball, get his eye off the prize, make him stumble as he's trying to run for president. That's the entirety of the goal right here. In my video yesterday, I said that the word is out that Dementia Joe is a puppet. Do you know who else is a puppet? Letitia James. She doesn't strike me as a top-tier attorney who has the prowess to put all of this charade together. I bet she has the full power of the Biden administration's alphabet mafia behind her to go after Donald Trump. Because as you just heard, Letitia James in New York have nothing to gain with this. You always need to dig to determine who really benefits from all of this. And those benefactors are the same people that are pulling Dementia Joe's puppet strings. And as I said yesterday, they know they can't beat Donald Trump. They also know that Dementia Joe can't debate Donald Trump. It will be, dare I say, a bloodbath if he has to debate Donald Trump. So how do you keep your puppet safe? Keep him away from the buzzsaw. Keep him away from competition. That's the goal here. Keep him away from Donald Trump. Keep Donald Trump off the campaign trail. Good luck with that. It doesn't seem to be working, but don't forget, that's what their actual goal is here. Let me know what you think about Letitia James going on and on now, trying to dig in further into this bond company to find out where this $175 million bond was collateralized and where that money is being held. Talk to you soon.